Mr Speaker.
I call the Honourable Minister Jerry Brownlee.
Well, I would have to say, Mr Speaker, that the cat's cry of Winston Peters' political career has always been there is more to come. And there was. But for one of those moments when the propeller hit the bottom of the Cook Strait, the Russian subs came in, what was it called? The surveillance device was on the Mikhail Lermontov. There wasn't cash in the brown paper bag at the Kermadec restaurant, and when I said no, I didn't know what I was saying, but there was always more to come. Mr Speaker, I want to begin my comments today by complimenting the work that the Honourable Maurice Williamson has done as a minister, to express my regret that he has had to make the choice to resign, and to further compliment him for recognising that he had put a foot over the line and that it was the only consequence that could occur as a result of that. Mr Speaker, these things are very hard for people's families, and so I want to acknowledge his family, his wife and children, who of course will be suffering with him as he is trying to come to terms with understanding just how he could have had that lapse of judgment that got him into this position. He's a good man, sir. He has contributed a lot to New Zealand. His family should know that, and I'm sure that he will continue to do so for some years to come. Mr Speaker, this debate is essentially Parliament setting aside time to discuss the circumstances under which Mr Williamson was forced to, well, not forced to, but had decided to resign. Mr Speaker, those circumstances are well canvassed through all the outlets in the media that this country has. And the member himself has made it very clear that he considers he made a mistake. He said that he has had a lapse of government, and that a lapse of judgment, I should say, and that he was in a position where he couldn't continue as a minister. Mr Speaker, the suggestion that Mr Williamson was at any time motivated by the particular wealth of an individual is completely fatuous. It's as fatuous as me saying that there is a Christchurch multi-millionaire who funds New Zealand First, for example. Well, everybody knows it's the case, but no one actually says it because it's not appropriate to do so. People are entitled to their friendships.
Point of order, the Right Honourable Winston Peters.
Mr Brownlee said that there are certain things you can't say. Now, that is a demonstrable lie that he just engaged in. He knows full well that a party with the highest return rate for the lowest expenditure is not the beneficiary of one of your filthy mates.
Can I just say to him, it's not actually a point of order. This is a robust place. And I call the Honourable Jerry Brownlee.
So, Mr Speaker, let's just for a moment consider some of the contributions to this debate today, starting with Russell Norman. Russell Norman seemed to think that somehow the decision by Maurice Williamson to resign was an indication that standards were falling inside ministerial arrangements that we have in this country. Far from it. It was confirmation that those arrangements are and continue to be upheld. Mr Speaker, the gentleman concerned went on further to suggest that there was almost an attitude that said that if you've got a lot of money, you can get favours out of the government. Well, Mr Speaker, that is complete and utter nonsense. The National Party discloses all its donations, more so, I would suggest, than most other political parties, because we have nothing particular to hide. For example, the member over there asked me about trust. Well, let's talk about David Cunliffe's trust. Let's talk about David Cunliffe's trust and ask why he can't tell us who paid into his account. As the Honourable Bill English said, someone has bought David Cunliffe. No question about that. Mr Speaker, what about the arrangements between the Green Party and Philip Mills? Philip Mills is openly saying he wants a green agenda for New Zealand. He wants his own type of green growth agenda for New Zealand. He rejects what other mainstream parties are doing, so he's off to put his money into the Green Party. That, sir, is policy for cash. Nothing short. Russell Norman, the great and virtuous Russell Norman, walks up to the .com mansion and tries to do a deal over his extradition for cash for the Green Party. But apparently that's not any sort of misleading or inappropriate behaviour. Mr Speaker, what about the Electoral Finance Act that the Labour Party rorted upon the people of New Zealand, supported by the Green Party? And, sir, if we want to start listing off ministers who resigned, there were 11 of them under the previous government. One of them, interestingly, the Honourable Winston Peters. Mr Speaker, Maurice Williamson has done the right thing. He is an honourable man. He does have a political future, and he has contributed an enormous amount to New Zealand at this point. He should be commended for recognising where the line is, and, sir, for him to have made that choice is, I think, commendable.
I call the honourable member Jacinda Ardern.